Ah, an Mindem video. Yeah. What the hell, right? Just things on my mind. It's always this challenge of how to have a conversation, and it's not even a conversation. How to whatever argue in defense of something you see in your brain, and say, this is what I see. How the fuck do you see what you're seeing? Because it's nothing like what I'm seeing. And that dilemma, and to do it in some manner that somehow is constructive, which is difficult to do because everybody's rhetoric is just so hostile. I mean, as soon as Donald Trump says something like loser, I get pissed off because it's like, who the fuck are you to call anybody a loser? You fucking, fucking silverware guy. I mean, he didn't have to fight a real fight in his life, and he calls himself some superhero or something. I did all these yeah, who'd you compete against? The Hilton twins or whatever. I outsmarted the Hilton twins. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Huh? The whole idea of a billionaire running for president. I mean, how could you possibly think it's a good thing to amass all of this resource and lock it up somewhere so you can rent it to the world for profit? How is that an ethical or decent thing to do? It's disgusting. You might as well be a child molester running for fucking president. Anyway, it brings up so many things. Somebody posted some kind of comment about Michael Jackson or something. It's like, oh yeah, so I guess you're right, Gary. I guess he was a pervert. This is stuff already known. Yeah. Well, you was right about crazy lunatic Michael Jackson. He was an abuser of children. Because they, when they, investigated him in 2003, they found lots of porn and shit and disgusting. But they didn't do anything with it, right? Because you can't deal with somebody's character at trial. So it wasn't relevant to the court case. Yeah. But who knows what the fuck, Yeah, like I said, the whole thing's a big... Well, I mean, it's just too stupid. How could somebody think Michael Jackson wasn't a pedophile? I mean, I'm not saying he did horrible things to kids ever, but I'm sure he played with willies and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. How could you think otherwise, you crazy fucks? Anyway, can you make a video about what you eat every day? Morning, midday. I don't eat morning, midday if I can avoid it. Really the wrong person to ask, because frankly, my diet's not really working for me anymore. I mean, if I had my choice, so that's the thing. If I could eat what I want to, because I could afford it, then I'd just eat apples and oranges and shit. Because that's when I felt the best. And so I eat what's cheap, so there's just no point. I buy 30-pound bags of rice. I buy pasta when it's on sale, if I can get it for 60 cents a box, then yeah, I buy 50 boxes. And now I'm eating bread, I just make bread because it's cheaper to make it than to buy it, so yeah. And rice, pasta, bread, and potatoes when available. But there's really nothing, My diet's never been something I worry about. If you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything, and there's plenty of shit to eat. Alright, how to end the game. Looks like there's no solution. Whatever. I think there's solutions. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get to one of them. I mean, really, it's an argument. You can make it or you can run away. Do you believe in most of the science behind man-made climate change? Well, I think quite obviously we released zillions and zillions of megatons of carbon into the atmosphere. That's what oil is. See, it's full of carbon. It's a carbon sink, the old oil was. And the coal, see, that's another carbon sink. And we've egasiated it into the atmosphere pretty clearly. Even if you just think of the equation of the fertilizers alone. I mean, 70% of oil gets converted into some kind of fertilizer. Right there you can just figure, well, obviously fertilizing and all of this fertilizing is ending up in the atmosphere. carbon as methane, from farty animals and such. So yes, the Earth is a fucked up place anyway, but we're fucking it up more. That's really irritating. Go away. Watch this. Go away. Boo. Yeah, soft. Anyway, how to end the game. Do you believe most science behind man-made? No. Guess what? Big cock bendy slut is gay. That's not really true. As far as I know. Anyway, unfortunately, Christina Rad lost. Score: France 2, Romania 1. I don't even understand that. I guess that's some sort of reference to some sort of sporting nonsense. Anyway, strange. Glenos was on Russian TV regarding some kind of sporting nonsense. I really don't understand it entirely, but if it was in Russian, and I'm not fluent in that at all. But anyway, so I make these every now and then. These idiots make some comment about circumcision, so I make some counter comment like, "You be stupid." And then I always get the counter comment, and you're just saying, like, what is so complicated about this? I mean, these people who obsess about these kind of things, like, here's the tragedy of life on Earth. You're like, no, this isn't even close to a tragedy. And in fact, it may not be a tragedy. It might not even be a bad thing. And they're just obsessed because of some personal thing, some vision thing in their head that I don't understand. So anyway, so this Outcast Club. So this is really not a, this is not a bad-looking bag of chick. I didn't take her seriously. She made comments for a while here, and so I finally had to look her up now that I found out she's horny for foreskin, apparently. I don't know. She might be a lesbian or something. Who knows? Circumcision is completely unnatural. Well, that's a silly argument. I mean, it's just a silly argument. So is shaving your armpits and taking care of the junk down there in any manner whatsoever is completely unnatural. And I'll make my argument. There's lots of things, let's say acne. If you could solve it with a surgical procedure 2 weeks after birth, I think plenty of people would say, yeah. Pimples might be natural, but I don't really need them. There's probably somebody who'll argue in defense of them, like we somehow need this necessary to have these little infections, these little pustules in our skin. And then I could go with facial hair or something. I would argue that this is vestigial, that it really just doesn't go with the old modern, sensual thingy, blah, 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 blah. It's aesthetically not a good idea. Like boob hair or something. It's really now let's not go there. Let's not do that one. Really, beards are not very sexy, in my opinion. Bending my brain as much as I can to imagine, I just don't see how it works as anything at all, making somebody fuckable, frankly. So yes, if I could push a button, if I'm having a kid, I could just, let's fuck this skin, the hair, this crap. Fuck that shit. We don't need it. He can do without the charming experience of growing a beard now and then. I mean, it's just not that big a deal. Well, anyway, I'd press the button. So, anyway, this whole unnatural argument is just stupid. Nature is stupid. And even if you were thinking in terms of natures, you can quite obviously see that nature is basically pushing the foreskin off the end of the dick. It's trying to get rid of it. So if you gave nature some time, it would finally get rid of the foreskin altogether. Because all the other animals have huge, giant foreskins. And they're way back. They're, not at the end of their dicks or any of that kind of shit. So clearly they're stuck way back in the old archaic penis world. Penis bones and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we don't have one of those. Is that unnatural? Clearly not. But so it's just this argument from nature is just such a silly one. So anyway, she has a video, a couple of them, and I don't know what her holds. She's doing some joke thing about Trump, I guess. Maybe he'll see it, and you'll be famous. She's Yeah, she's probably good enough looking. She's a little clever. I mean, the whole thing is a little clever. She's not like stupid. Except, she is kind of dumb. Just for these arguments. I mean, she makes a good argument. I mean, she argues well for a chick. And a little bit witty and all that kind of stuff. I don't like the fake sexual thing. I mean, I don't like people making fun of sex. Sex shouldn't be made fun of. I mean, not in a, there's a line, and then you don't go over the line. It's kind of over the line. Anyway, she has a video about rescuing animals from zoos, and it's like, oh, come on. I mean, I could take 1 square mile of New York sewers, and there's more horror taking place every day in one of those sewers than there is in all the zoos on Earth. One New Zealand sheep farm. I could just go calculate how many rodents, come to some horrid end every day, and it would be many more, quite sentient organisms going through horror than all the zoos in the world. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I am sort of saying that when you really look at it, though, yeah, it probably is a good thing. I mean, if I was an animal, I'd prefer to be born in a zoo. Okay, the infant mortality rate in a zoo is so much better than nature. Okay, so if you're going to get born somewhere and you're an animal, the zoo's the place to get born, because you're going to do a lot better than you're going to do out there in the real world. Especially for like the lions and tigers and bears and such. But anyway, yeah, and you could go to this New Zealand sheep farm, and I'm not even counting the sheep. So now add up the sheep. So just in the sheep horror, at one farm, you got all the zoos in the world in terms of sentient suffering. So I just think it's kind of a silly thing to advocate for. And in the context of also where zoos really do edify people. I mean, frankly, I was made a better person through the experience of interacting with these animals and seeing them and understanding them to be, hey, look, it's thinking. You can see it. It's looking at me funny. It knows I'm a jerk. You could see it. And you could see, it's just there's just something very valuable about that personal experience thing where you get to see exactly how big shit is and all that kind of crap. Yeah. And then you get humiliated because the rhinoceros has an erection and you're like, holy fuck. Human penises are totally inadequate. Anyway, it does shrivel you right up, because man, there are some animals that yeah, they should be ruling Earth because they obviously have the penis to be rulers. Anyway, that's a whole separate subject. But all that shit does your brain some good, I think. Alright. A hideous and grievous crime against any living being. So I guess this is, her shtick is this exaggeration thing, or I don't know exactly what that is, but I mean, it's kind of silly. It's foreskin, for fuck's sake. And you're a woman, and you're going to tell me there's something about foreskin that you find appealing? I mean, this little reservoir for urine, right? The urine dribbles on it. But it can't get out because there's foreskin in the way most of the time. And certainly there's the little dribbles, the little dribbles that dribble out instead of going onto the cotton underpants or someplace. It ends up just sitting there in this little hot, steamy place where the yeast can eat it. The funguses of different variety can grow and feed on the urine. And from a woman's perspective, that's a good idea. And then there's the whole thing where it is a little bit of this, just a little knob to it. And it just kind of basically gets stuck in your vagina. And then the guy's just fucking his own foreskin. Does that make you feel good too? Oh, I like when he's fucking his own foreskin in my vagina. And then there's the whole disease fucking thing where there's absolutely no disease advantage. It's all downside disease-wise. You're just more likely to get one, and more importantly for women, you're more likely to give her one. An infection or some other contamination issue thing. So yes, they evaluate circumcision based on its effect on men, which they can't do very well, and they kind of ignore the fact that it's probably, there is a substantial correlation between women's issues and circumcision, and they're not good correlations. So I'm just saying, I'm circumcised. I can't possibly imagine how, if somebody suggested, I'm going to sew some extra skin on your dick, how's that? Well, I really don't need any extra. I have enough extra. Okay, I mean, there's times when I'm amazed how much extra skin there is. I don't really need any more. It's plenty, thanks. So I don't get it. And by simply saying I don't get this horror that you're claiming exists, and then I don't even want to get into, infants and how conscious they are. I mean, they just got squashed through a birth canal, and you're going to worry about their sentient welfare. No sale. So anyway, not going to watch this vid on principle. Well, see, I guess you just, I don't, what's the principle? I like to remain ignorant. I don't want to hear the counter arguments. It's not much of a principle, sorry. And then she says, bye, Gary. Well, she hurted my feelings with that, but what can be done? My feelings must be hurted. Yeah, shucks. So then this idiot shows up. Andrew Vider. Okay, so he looks like somebody with too much skin on his dick. And he's curiously got rid of his icon when he made some more comments. Strange. I think it's a little strange. But yes, you've got issues, no doubt. And so, sorry you have some sort of inferior dick complex, but that's what it seems like to me. Yeah. Let's see. Hideous and grievous crime. Good thing didn't exaggerate. Yes, that's true. The anesthesia. What's the problem? Well, again, I don't. You look fine if you do, but I'm just saying I've seen circumcisions. I've seen the videos of the damn thing. I mean, it's just cut. The damn thing hardly even bleeds. It's nothing. I saw a kid who was like 8 years old, 9, 10 minutes. I mean, it really is a callus on your dick. It's like getting a callus removed. Jeez. Basic hygiene is all that's needed. No, it's probably more than basic. See, I'm doing basic, which is, who the fuck cares? You're the guy that's got to do some kind of hygiene-y thingy. And I really, I don't think you do. I don't think you catch every little dribble that dribbles out of your little wiener. And again, you're just going to pretend it's just not true, and it is true. Okay, if you randomly grab penises off the street and you test them for microbiologic activity, foreskin is not helping you at all. Nothing good will come of it. But so anyway, I mean, I just I'm not the one saying everybody should be circumcised. I'm just saying logically I can't see a downside. I just can't see it. There's absolutely no evidence of any kind of degrade in performance. Personally, I just find it fantastic not to even have, I mean, why do I want any extra skin on my dick? It just doesn't seem like that could possibly have any use. And we know what its history is. Like I said, it's guardian skin. It's irritable skin. It's not skin for the purpose of sexual activity. It serves no function. Again, that's why evolution is pushing it off your dick. But anyway. So this is the Andrew guy says more shit. So he says, right on, fuck you, guy. Right, that's proportional response. What's with your weird interest in other guys' dicks? No, see, you get it wrong again. I'm not the one with the weird fascination with other guys' dicks. I have no interest in your dicks, actually. The question is, again, is about your hysterical overreaction to this thing called circumcision. Like if the Bible had figured out, wash your hands if you're going to help a woman have a baby or something. If they wrote that in the Bible, does that mean it's an evil thing to do? So I mean, it's like everything you think, a whole ton, especially a ton of the Jewish Bible, is just a bunch of, hey, we found this works pretty good. don't do certain things because, blah, 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 blah. They're just life advice. And that's all circumcision was. You think they heard from, actually God told them to get circumcised? No, they figured it out themselves. They figured out, hey, this works better. So it's, and then other guys said, hey, I want my kid to have one of those new modern penises. And that's why it caught on, asshole. What a jerk. So I really don't have any interest in your dick. And again, I'm defending my unnatural dick as being a perfectly satisfactory modification. And being uncircumcised is irrelevant to meditation because they are both natural. I didn't make that argument, retard. So, could you quote where I made that argument? I certainly didn't say meditation has anything to do with being natural. I said exactly the opposite. It's natural for us to be stimulating and thinking and doing all that stuff, not trying to not think. Trying not to think is not a natural process. What a retarded comment. No, I think you're kind of retarded. Some guys are cut. Some aren't. So what? That's pretty much my argument, jackass. Again, there's fanatics who want to persuade people that circumcision is a bad idea. I'm making a counter argument to those fanatics. And I think most of those fanatics have inferior penis syndrome. And that's all they're arguing out of, is that they're sick of, I'm sick of all those people with those better cocks than mine. I don't like my uncircumcised cock, ? I don't know what that means. Well, fuck you, I don't like your cock either. I never call my cock a cock, actually. It has too much dignity for that. It's a penis. And you're growing bald and your long hair doesn't hide it. Well, I've had long hair forever. Since I was 11 or whatever, 12. And had the freedom to allow it to grow. And clearly, I have giant forehead syndrome. And I'm okay with that also. Yeah. Turn some people on, turn some people off, I guess. But I'm alright with it. I can live with it. I mean, a little less would be nice if I could take a modification. If they could have done a modification at my birth and, oh yeah, let's cut an inch off that forehead. I would have been okay with that. But it's just the way it is, fuckhead. But anyway, I'm not hiding anything with my long hair, so that's just kind of silly. Yeah, so go ahead. Try a desperate argument. Because nothing else is working, right? So be desperate. So anyway, this as an argument is just so useless. Right? I mean, that's a useless argument on any subject. As for meditation, I find it boring as fuck. Our minds are programmed to be stimulated. Well, that was the point I was making. So sitting and thinking and breathing, whatever, is like, fuck meditation. Well, again, that's not even the subject. Again, the subject is there's people saying meditation is the way to enlightenment. That somehow this will make your brain something better. And I'm arguing, no, if anything, it might make you one of those glib assholes. It might make you the two extremes. You'll either become a nihilist, glib motherfucking cunt, or you'll go insane and die. Yeah. Something like that. So anyway, this stupid, idiotic, moronic, retarded comments has been a problem lately. But it has got me thinking, as sometimes things do. I figure maybe I'll go outside. It's nice out. A little windy, but nice. So anyway, I was thinking, I've thought of this before, and I haven't gotten it done. So I really want to start. Wow, it's so different out here. Woo! Yeah, I want to start. There's just too many projects, right? I mean, I got so many things I'm always fiddling with. That sounded right, but anyway, I do fiddle with things. Anyway, so I thought this before that you just some way to make an ordered argument, and I thought of doing that with videos, and you can do that. On the website I can do that because I can link videos to other videos in a coherent manner, and try to make it more interactive. So you just press a button, videos play, da 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 da. And so you can make an argument almost, it's almost like having hypertext in a document, you know, where the key points can be hypertext and made. And I probably should do that. Well, I did do that actually in the past, and I just never did it very well. But I did for the God argument. You know, you ask the question, do you believe in God? There's two choices, yes, no. If you say no, you get this argument. If you could say yes, you get the argument to get you out of your, you know, that's like a non-starter for intelligent conversation. So there's a whole argument made about how that's a non-starter for an intelligent conversation. The netting is going to cripple one of my flowers there. Yeah, I take care of them each individually. Look out for their welfare. So the idea would be, you know, if people want to put in the comments something, these are kind of interesting. I mean, they're very different than the other forget-me-nots, because these have blue centers instead of white centers, or yellow, or whatever I don't even remember the traditional one. Lovely. Those really are nice. I like those. Oh, look at that. Something ate that one. Freaking beastie got all the way up that pole somehow. Anyway, so, where was I? Oh, it's lovely out here. Anyway, yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, we'll go down the other end, look this way. That'd be cool. Yeah, so the first question will be some sort of, you know, do you believe in a traditional, intelligent creator? And then you could narrow it down to the next question, you know, and then you know, when they say yes, then okay, you just deal with the religious argument that, you know, you really can't have a conversation about reality if you think that nonsense is reality. You know, it's just being stupid victim. Yeah, speaking of life horrors, you know, they are everywhere. Yeah, I can take a walk down there and show you. Yeah, well, I'll get to it. So anyway, the point would be, so you ask the first question, okay, and then and then for the people who say, okay, no, they don't believe in this intelligent creator, well, then you narrow it down. You say, well, do you believe in that there's some innate intelligence built into the function of the universe, that somehow the universe knows the difference between good and bad, and that somehow it will make the singularity good happen rather than the singularity bad happen when it's singularities or whatever you think it's going to do. And so you just keep narrowing the arguments down to, you know, these hanging points, and you get all the way down to, like, you know, do you believe photons are waves, or do you think it's a frickin' particle flying through space? But you get to all the, you know, you just parse the argument into a bunch of yes and no questions, you know, you'll find out if your question is too empty based on you know, the ineffectiveness of some point of the argument where it starts to break down. But it seems to me that if you can get people to say yes to the right questions, you can sort of get to the truth about what it is to be you know, on planet Earth, and you can kind of understand where what's a proportional response to the world and what's a stupid response, and, you know, get everything, you know, make a rational, coherent argument out of those 100 or 200 or 1,000 you know, key questions. I don't think it really shouldn't take more than 100, but we'll see. But anyway, that's my, you know, project 768 to get to, which, you know, who knows. Yeah, it's not, you know, there's just too much going on. But they're all sort of all related in a way. What do you want? Huh? Oh, okay. Let's see, wants his ear rubbed. Okay, so you have to just you ask him a proper yes or no question, and he gives you a vague answer, and then you just make it up. And, yeah, That's how it works with cats anyway. Just make it up. So, yeah, I'll go show you some of the plants in their protected sleeping area. Yeah, I'm gonna work on my mulching, which I've been rather sloppy about. So, but anyway, so there's this old deer netting that I had in the mulch pile. My bad, I guess. You know, and so two garter snakes apparently decide to mate in the netting, and it didn't go very well. Ooh, smelly. Yes, you can see the dead snakes. So, you know, not a good. Look at all those dung beetles working on it. Look at those. Ooh, creepy, 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 creepy. You're creepy. Do you know what you're eating? It's dead. It's disgusting. But anyway, it's kind of all very tragic. Yeah, you know, but in a way, it's very good because they died. You know, attempting to create more living things to die. And they all would have died. All the prodigy of those two snakes mating would have been doomed to the failure, or else they would have doomed something else to failure. You know, they would have. I mean, it really is that kind of world, you know. If somebody doesn't get killed in some horrible way, I don't get to marry my wife, kind of a thing, or something. That kind of shit happens every day. Some asshole gets killed in some horrible way, and it was actually the best day of your life because he was going to fuck your bitches. Yeah, better than you. Yeah, I mean, life is insidiously evil. This whole, you know, competitive, idiotic, crazy, stupid way of being, and then even, like I said, even if we fix it, then we've sterilized it, sanitized it, and you know, then you've cut its dick off. Okay, that's the other thing. The circumcision people say, why would you want to cut off the tip of your dick, the head of your dick? They don't seem to understand physics of dicks at all. I mean, you know, they think the foreskin is your penis. Sorry, you really don't know what you're doing. Yeah, but that's the problem. You know, to make life clean enough and rational enough to live is to you know, make it impossible to have the gain, you know, because it's just too it's too much of the process is merely the conquest, the smiting of the whatever, the competitor, that's the only game in town. And there's no other game to play. There's no game for intelligence to play, put it that way. Hey, these are slumping a bit. Somebody better get to work and give them some new, tie them up properly. Yeah, those are kind of weak. Okay. Yeah, they'll be perfectly fine. I'll fix that. My defenses are minimum defenses this year. So we'll see how much of a failure that is. I don't really think this is going to stop deer, but we'll see. But this turned out quite nice. This is a nice idea. Yeah, so this is, you know, neighbor makes birdhouses now, which are really quite lovely. But probably shouldn't say too much about it, but yeah, it's really quite nice. Yeah. But again, problem is, you know, birds fight over them, and it's just all, this whole nature thing is just suck all the way down. The whole thing sucks. And people just, you know, glorify it as if it's natural. Like that's supposed to mean something. being natural. Yeah, but there's no options. You know, there's no intelligent option. That's the problem. There's just no intelligent options. Hey, what is this doing over here? Means somebody, some critter, has somehow defaced one of my pots. It's probably that critter. Yeah, he won't drink out of the water dish, so he does this kind of shit instead. And he has, you know, he has whatever, orientation issues. God, I can't see the red line. But that's how this camera goes. So yeah, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I mean, those two are there where they're supposed to be. Just very strange. But see, a pot goes in there. So I'll make a pot to go in there. So, you know, all this stuff is just so, you know, it's close, but there just isn't a lot of really exciting things happening yet. So, almost. Soon, maybe. Probably, inevitably. So I think that's enough of the video. And, yeah, lots of birds. Birds in the tree. Yeah, that one just follows me around. So it thinks I make worms. So, that is. Baby asparagus is doing well, but many years before I'll get to eat them, and I probably won't be here to do that. These things have not ever daisied for me, which is very strange. It's supposed to be some sort of Montauk daisy, but it never makes any daisy. So they're just green things that waste my time. Anyway, I have to do something about that too. So, I think we'll call this enough of a video. So yeah, I'll try to do something on the website. Yeah, I'll try to do something interesting on the website, I suppose. Something. But anyway, I'll try to work on designing this idea of a reasoned, only go where you need to go kind of argument. See, there's a lot of arguments in here that you might not need to hear, and we should just get to the ones you do need to hear. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like to be able to make something in a bunch of modules, and you just put together the modules you need in terms of where our disagreements are, where our vision thing is different. Because we should be able to resolve those differences. There really are enough facts, in my opinion, in this world that we exist in, including up there, to be decisive, conclusive. And obviously our conclusions can't be in conflict with each other. Reasonably, they can't be. These are the only two cone flowers I'm going to get. Deers ate all the ones that aren't in the zoo and protected in the zoo. It's a flower zoo. Anyway. Okay, so that's it. So, till next time and such.